organic, unpredictable, unknown, lovely, beautiful, a sense of fulfillment. This is part of the pleasures of life and not the chores of life.
Coming up on Daily Iowan TV, find out how UISG candidates hope to win student support in tomorrow's election.
Plus, why the UI is getting some very special recognition for its historic collections.
Coming up in sports, I'll talk about the curse the football gods have set on the Iowa running back position.
That's all coming your way next.
Daily Iowan TV starts now.
I'm Tom Brokaw. For more than 100 years now, the University of Iowa community has been waking up to the Daily Iowan. Today, it's the largest newsroom in eastern Iowa. And now you can see the news every night on Daily Iowan TV and get it anytime worldwide at dailyiowan.com.
Thanks for tuning in to your Tuesday edition of Daily Iowan TV. I'm Josh Bolander.
And I'm Tasha Woods. With student government elections just a day away, the parties are making one final push to sway voters in their favor. The University of Iowa student government held their vice presidential debate last night. Nick Ralston of the Hashtag Party emphasized student engagement scholarships, while Jesse Tobin of the I Party stressed the need to cap tuition fees. The candidate said that while the process may be a difficult one, both felt confident change was possible.
Our specific engagement pillar or platform options, the Concert Kinnick, Engage scholarships, and that feedback form are ways to start that process.
We'll be working here on campus to ease the financial burdens of students just with everyday life of going to college.
Polls open at midnight on Tuesday and will stay open until midnight on Thursday.
The state capitol was put on lockdown today after a state legislator opened an envelope containing an unidentified white powder. Debate was suspended in the House and everyone was asked to remain in the building while the substance was examined. The letter also contained a threatening note, and authorities have not yet identified what the substance actually was.
The Department of Veterans Affairs is launching an investigation following allegations of a vindictive atmosphere at the Iowa City VA. The investigation comes after hospital officials received a letter from an anonymous source written by Senator Chuck Grassley. The letter alleges that many patients complained about their quality of care, and employees who ignored such problems were rewarded with while whistleblowers were punished.
The University of Iowa Museum of Natural History was recently recognized for its contributions to the preservation of America's agricultural history. The museum, which is celebrating its 150th year, was named a finalist for the Silos and Smokestacks National Heritage Area People's Choice Site of the Year Golden Silo Award. The museum, which lies in the heart of the UI's campus, received a number of awards over the past 2 years, including being named last year's Best Museum by the Eastern Iowa's A-List based out of Cedar Rapids. The winner of this year's award is expected to be announced later this month.
After the 2008 flood in Johnston County, towns like Iowa City and Cedar Rapids created a more secure game plan in case of another flood. But some smaller communities downriver weren't as quick to respond. Daily Iowan TV's Nick Rector has a story of one Iowa counties that is finally getting up to speed on flood safety.
It's simple. If you have no buildings in areas where flooding can occur, no buildings will be damaged. However, during the flood of 2008, this is something that Cedar Rapids and Iowa City had to learn the hard way. Iowa City and Cedar Rapids were literally built around rivers. And during times of flooding, this has caused the towns major problems. But in 2011, both cities finally updated their flood maps. But how are other Iowa communities on rivers dealing with flooding? Cedar County, a county located just downstream from Cedar Rapids, is also stressing about the issue. So much that they are too finally updating their flood maps.
In Iowa and more rural counties, most of the flood maps have not been updated since the mid-1980s. Regardless of what type of development has taken place in certain watersheds, the floodplain has changed.
The floodplain has grown, and now any building within the plain is at risk. Recently, Cedar County's focus has been on buyout programs, meaning that any houses within the flood zone are bought, the family is relocated, and the house is torn down. The whole community is getting involved in the process, and even the UI's Urban Regional Planning Department is getting his hands wet as well.
This initiative really encourages the students in URP to get out in communities and engage in sustainable work.
Updating the flood maps in Cedar County will determine who stays wet and who stays dry during times of flooding. And although some people may not be very happy about having to move out of the floodplain, they won't be complaining when the next flood comes. Nick Rector, Daily Iowan TV.
With flood season quickly approaching, Cedar County officials say the changes came just in time. Still to come on Daily Iowan TV, find out how the UI hopes some colorful eggs will help improve cultural awareness on campus.
And in sports, we'll update you on the future of the infamous Field of Dreams.
That's coming up in just a bit. Now let's take some time to check in with Christina Targos for your local forecast. Christina? Thanks, Tasha. Now, although Wednesday won't be getting quite as warm as the past few days, it will still be very comfortable. Wednesday morning will be 51 degrees and will reach 59 by noon, with some cloudy skies and back down to 55 in the evening. And the rest of the week will stay pretty consistent temperature-wise. Wednesday will have a high of 66. Thursday will only reach 59, but Friday goes back up to 61 with sunny skies. Saturday we will see 63 degrees, but a 40% chance of thunderstorms. And Sunday we will see the sun again with a high of 64, but back down to 61 on Monday. Now that's your check of the weather. Back to you guys at the desk.
The political climate in Iowa has shifted. According to statistics released by the Secretary of State's office on Monday, Iowa Republicans now outnumber Democrats for most actively registered voters. The report marks the first time in 6 years that Republicans have held the head-to-head advantage. Still, independents outnumber both parties by about 70,000 voters.
Today, Democratic Congressman Bruce Braley officially announced his plan to run for re-election in Iowa's 1st District. The 54-year-old representative will kick off his campaign for a 4th term with a 3-day tour of eastern Iowa that includes stops in Cedar Rapids and Waterloo.
Some UI students got together today for some Easter-themed fun. Life in Iowa is a university group that gives international students a chance to experience American culture, but more specifically, Iowa culture. And today, the group held an Easter egg coloring event as one way to introduce students to American traditions they may not have known existed.
This is one of our ongoing orientation events. It's kind of the constant acculturation, the constant orientation to life in Iowa.
Life in Iowa will take a trip to the Amana colonies this weekend to give students a look at a more rural Iowa community.
And now Daily Iowan TV's Alicia Denez is here for your look at Hawkeye Sports.
With Jordan Canzeri injured, the running back core for the Hawkeyes is inexperienced once again. Daily Iowan TV's Mike Howell looks at the less than fortunate position the Hawks are in this spring.
Adam Robinson, Brandon Wager, Jewel Hampton, Marcus Coker, Mikhail McCall. That's 5 Iowa running backs that have left the Hawkeye football team in the past 2 years.
We're dealing with 18 to 22-year-old guys. And all you guys know at 18 to 22 years old, you know, you don't always make the best decisions. But really it comes down to decision-making, and as coaches, we can't be with those guys 24 hours a day. But it really comes down to, you know, education and hoping those guys make good decisions.
And now the injury bug has aided in the cursing of all Iowa running backs. Just a week ago, before his ACL injury, sophomore-to-be Jordan Canzeri topped the depth charts at running back for Iowa and looked to be the most experienced ball carrier Iowa had coming into the 2012 season next fall. Even then, he only had 31 carries on 114 yards and only 9 carries here in Kinnick Stadium. The running back carousel has many wondering who will carry the load next fall. The top 3 returning following Canzeri have a total of 35 carries for 131 yards, and none have scored a touchdown. Running backs coach Lester Erb says, although it's not an ideal situation, there could be a positive with the opening at tailback.
I think it just comes down to, you know, there's going to be opportunities for those guys. You know, when you recruit guys, that they see an opportunity that they're going to come in and have a chance to play, and you know, unfortunately, over the past couple of years, we've been able to sell that.
Opportunities that these young backs could take advantage of this spring. Mike Howell, Daily Iowan TV Sports.
And with 2 running backs coming in next year's recruiting class, one being the 19th best running back in the nation, Greg Garman, the Hawks could see a true freshman immediately contribute. And I have news for the fans of the movie Field of Dreams today. The field that made the movie famous is currently for sale near Dyersville, Iowa. Senators voted 34-12 to approve a tax rebate to the owners of the film site in order to preserve the famous baseball field. Go the Distance Baseball Company plans to develop the site into a baseball and softball complex consisting of 24 fields and a training facility costing $38.4 million. Through this project, they wish to benefit by drawing in major athletic tournaments and creating jobs in the area. Since the bill was passed, it will now go to House for voting. That's all I have for sports today. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Alicia. And now let's go beyond Iowa and take a look at some of the top headlines from around the globe. It was a scary scene in Texas today as multiple tornadoes ripped through the Dallas-Fort Worth area. The twisters tossed semi-trailers like toys and caused widespread damage to homes and other buildings. There were no immediate reports of major injuries.
10 members of Colombia's security forces are with their families tonight for the first time in more than a decade. The men were held hostage by FARC, a paramilitary group that's been battling the Colombian government for over 40 years. Some of the men had been held captive in the jungle for 14 years, and although FARC says they will no longer take hostages, officials estimate there are still nearly 400 civilians being held captive.
And a new food crisis is causing serious concern across 8 countries in Africa. People in the Sahel Desert in northwest Africa have been hit hard by droughts, poor harvest, and high food prices, leaving many struggling to feed their families. Officials say that more than 1 million people are at risk.
And if you're looking to invest in real estate, look no further than Buford, Wyoming. There are a number of lots available. In fact, the whole town is up for sale. The 10-acre town is set to go on the auction block Thursday, and auctioneers are asking for a minimum bid of $100,000. And if you're interested in buying the town, you shouldn't have to worry about annoying neighbors, with Buford boasting a total population of just 1 person.
And only with Daily Iowan TV can you get a sneak peek into Wednesday's pages of the Daily Iowan. Find out what city councilors had to say about a controversial new zoning law that could have a serious impact on students living near campus.
Plus, read about how the Iowa City School District is struggling with budget cuts and the impact it could have on local property taxes.
That's your latest edition of Daily Iowan TV.
Be sure to check us out at the same time tomorrow or anytime online at dailyiowan.com.
Thanks for watching and have a great night.